Hello again, everybody in YouTube land. My audio, when I first recorded this, kind of went to crap, so I'm having to narrate this over top the video, so I'm hoping that I can follow along with you. This is another DIY project. I've seen a lot of the 1 hour timers, kitchen egg timers that people have used to do time-lapse photos. Well, I wanted something that would run a lot quicker, like in about a minute or so I could do a quick panning somewhere outdoors, in a house, whatever, and record it. Now, what I've been using on the right there is an old music box that I found at a thrift store, and there's one that's a kitchen egg timer, but it's an hour unit. And at a thrift store, I had it 50 cents. They sold it to me for 25 cents, and the one on the right I got for I think it was 75 cents. So I've already taken the one on the right apart and made the panning unit that I got in my hand. But when I got it done, it runs real slow. Actually, it took 2.5 minutes for a full revolution. Now the one on the left there, the one I paid, I paid a whopping $2.40 for. It runs a lot faster. And I timed it before I went out of the thrift store, and it run for like 55 seconds for a full revolution. So that was more in line with what I was looking for. Now, of course, they all play music, and it's real easy to get rid of that. There's a little metal plate with a bunch of fingers on it that roll across a drum. That's what like the old-time music players. Now, it's very simple to disassemble and take apart, and I'll show you what the music mechanism looks like. And that's all there is to it. You see that kind of a silver drum, that's what rotates, and those little metal fingers roll along the side of it. So you remove those 2 screws, and actually some of them only got 1 screw in them, and it's quiet again. Something what you got to be careful of, right on each end of that drum, there's like a white plastic collar. And I noticed on that one, one of them was cracked and kind of fell out, but it still seems to be working all right. So that may be a weak point in these, especially when they've got some age on them. But when you're getting them for 75 cents or 25 cents a piece, I guess I can afford to go get more. So I'm going to be on the lookout for more of them for backups. Now that base, see that's got a different base on it. Turn to the right, you wind them up. Turn to the left, and it unscrews. And that metal base is the one I'm going to use for my new unit because it's got a nice flat surface. You could use a surface mount, GoPro mount, or some other type. Now the base, that wooden base, is just glued on the bottom, so I'm using a putty knife to just slide around and pry it loose from the glue. I don't want to break up that wooden base bad, because what I end up doing, I use it for a template for my drill holes in the top of my project box. Now a few little pieces broke off, but that's all right. I still have the basic diameter of the base and all the holes in it. Well, this particular unit only has 2 screws holding it in. Now that music arm, I guess that's what you want to call it, it only had 1 screw in it. So I pulled that out, and there you go. I got a quiet rotating mechanism. The 2 little screws pop right out. I suspect these bases are pretty much standard, because when I took this one apart and looked at it, it had multiple holes in the base of it for different mounting patterns. Because this one only had 2 screws in it, that's all I drilled in the top. Now these boxes, you can find them down at Radio Shack. It was $5.85. It's a 2-inch deep box by 5. I think it's 5 inches by an inch, and they have some that are only 1 inch high, so you have a little, lower profile. But I think you'll see in the end, you might be better off having the larger box, only because of what happens with the wide-angle view out of the GoPro camera. When you get down low profile like that, you start seeing the edges of the box as the camera rotates around. And so you got everything there. You got 2 lids. You got a metal plate if you want to use a metal plate, or the plastic one. I'm using the plastic one there. On the inside of that lid, there's a couple lips in there that you have to be sure to get that metal base inside of. I wanted to get the shaft out of that motor, the round gold cylinder there, in the center of the box. But the way it was built, I couldn't do it, so I just had to try and fit it in so the frame would sit down there, so it's offset just slightly. Now I'm mounting it off to one end of that because I had something else that I run across at a tool store. I think it's called Harbor Freight is where I got it. And it's a 2-way level. So I'm mounting that on the top of the box. So when I put it on my tripod, I can adjust the tripod and get it perfectly flat and level. Then when I'm doing a rotating pan, the camera will rotate level all the way around. That was actually it was less than $1. I mean, it might have been 50 cents that I paid for it. All right, so I've gone out and I've drilled the 3 holes for the music box mechanism. Yeah, I was trying to show them where I was trying to get in the center, but I couldn't do it the way it fit down in there. I had to get it to fit inside the ridges on that lid, so the lid would fit down in the box itself. Now the 2-way level, actually it's got a magnet on the back if you had a metal lid, but I just had 2 holes in it, so I just drilled 2 little holes and screwed it fast. Now the box, I wanted to be able to mount it on a tripod. I wanted it to set flat, so I got also and all I did was drill a hole through it and epoxied a 1/4 nut on the inside. So now it sets flat, it'll flat on my tripod mount, but also like if you're at a dinner table, you can mount it on something flat and do a 360 pan of everybody at the dinner table or a party or wherever you want to be. So now all I gotta do is just screw it back together. There we go. Now, what other thing I did, the metal base that was on the original one, I got a GoPro tripod mount. I saw those 2 holes in it. And I took a 1/4 screw and screwed it in. Of course, my screw was a little bit long, so I had to shim up the washers. But then I found out when I tried to put it on the box, the head of the screw stuck down enough where it was hitting the heads of those little screws that held the music element in. So I had to put another washer under the tripod mount itself. And what I'll do, I'll go back and take that screw and cut it shorter so it'll sit up flush, and I won't have a problem now. and I turned the tripod mount to try and get the camera so it's set as close to being over top of the rotating shaft of that music box. It's a tiny shaft, and I'm concerned that, you know, putting too much weight off center would put a lot of wear on that mechanism, and probably you know, it'll fail after a while. Now there's I'm showing the lid. I actually traced out when I had that frame on there, so I could hold that over top the base, and then I marked the larger hole center of that, and I drew that first, or I drilled it first. Then I set the music mechanism in that, then moved it so it made sure it set down inside the lip of the base. Then took a small drill, went down to the threaded holes, and did like a pilot drill through the lid, and then come back and I drilled them out larger to so all the screws would fit in there perfectly. Now, if you don't want to do the tripod mount type thing, all you got to do is put a surface mount on there, just a double back tape. And I could have used the other base and turned it upside, well, it is upside down, and mounted that surface mount in there. But I think you'll see when I show you the panning examples when I get done here. I did three panning videos, and you'll see that if the camera sits too low and I set just the bare camera on that plate, when it rotates around, you'll see the edge of that level on the box there. So it helps to have the camera elevated slightly above that box. Again, there's the box, or the Radio Shack project enclosure, they call them. And that's the cross-check level, what they call it. Got that at Harbor Freight. And there again is the music box I bought for $2.40. There's the other one. They had it for $1, but they sold it to me for 75 cents. So check out the thrift shops around, and you'll find some of these, and they're very easy to take apart and reutilize. And if you want any more info on this, more detail how I drill the holes or put it together, leave me a comment. I'd be more than happy to give you all the information that you need to build your own. So here's one of our 360 videos. Now what I found out after I made this, that mechanism makes quite a bit of noise. It's not like an egg timer where you're getting a lot of click, 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 clicks. This is more like a buzzing sound. So maybe possibly that I could isolate it with some foam or something better. Or I don't know, it could be vibration coming through that little motor. But any of the panning videos I do like this, I'll be narrating over the top of them or playing some music in the background, so it should cover that up. This area that I'm doing a little test video at, actually on a little tiny island in a lagoon at a fishing camp that I'm part of. Actually, I manage the fishing camp out here. I'm over near a feeder site that we have for wild game feeder. That's one of my elevated hunting stands there. Now as I rotate around, right at the bottom right now, like the base of that tree, you see that silver object sticking out? That's actually one of the handles on my tripod. So you can see we're having that camera elevated just a little bit above that box. If you have anything like that, will be beneficial. Now in the next and last video clip, I go up in that stand and set the camera there. Now, being elevated like that, the camera, I have to tilt it down slightly. and you'll see where it actually catches more of that handle, and actually you see part of the level on top of the box. And there I'm actually checking one of my game cameras I have on a post out there. I was taking the cards out of it. Okay, now we'll go up in top of that stand, and there we are looking down. We'd had a lot of rain the night before, so you see some standing water out there, but now you can see the handle of my tripod. And if we get around, there comes the end of that level that's mounted on the top of the box. So you can see we're putting an extension arm on that mount and raising the camera higher, or doing away with the little level and putting the mechanism more in the center of the box. We'll keep that from showing up. It's pretty breezy that day. You can see the Spanish moss in the trees kind of blowing around. The shame my audio wasn't working good. There was a hawk flying around above us, just squealing and squawking at us. And I think I bumped the camera here just slightly, and that's what you see the jump in the camera from. Yep, there it goes. And I can tell that the mechanism needs to be wound up, because I can tell by the sound of it that you can hear it slightly slowing down. So, well, that's my 60-second 360-degree panning unit. Do it yourself. If you have any questions, leave some comments below. Good luck.